Thank you. Next slide. So what am I going to be talking through? First of all, the objective at WikiWaste and why it came about, its structure and how members of the public tend to use it. I'm going to go through a few local authority pages and the information that those contain. Then I'm going to move on to information about facilities treatment, of which there is vast amounts of information. This is just an overview. There are currently just under 1,000 pages populated on WikiWaste. 2,500 if you talk about redirects and template pages as well. So this is a really fast whiz through of the sorts of information the WikiWaste contains. Recent updates. The most recent update was at 2 o'clock this afternoon when I did an update on Skelton Grange, because that hit financial close last week. So that then suddenly had to have a page written on it, and our plans for our next stage, how we're going to take WikiWaste forward. That's the website. That's how you get onto WikiWaste. Yeah, I will talk about it. There we go. Last of these PowerPoint slides, just to talk over the objectives of WikiWaste. The main objective of which is to share knowledge, information and data on the UK waste market. WikiWaste is a company limited by guarantee and formed on a not-for-profit basis. It was published in November 2019 with local authority pages primarily, and then it developed enormously through lockdown 1, lockdown 2. It is entirely free to use. You just click on www.wikiwaste.org.uk and it will take you to the main page, and that's how I am going to start running through WikiWaste with you. And it is based on the Wikipedia platform and consistent with the principles of Wikipedia. So we share more or less the same code of conduct, the same privacy principles. There are hundreds of wiki platforms, as you know, and I will give a plug to the one on Downton Abbey because that was quite good. I'd never heard of wiki platforms apart from Wikipedia previously, but I've since come to realise there were quite a few. Types of user. There are 3 types of user on our WikiWaste platform. Full editorial, obviously, which is what we are at Monksley, and a number of other people, of which I know some are on this call. So thank you for all your help and assistance. It's been fantastic. You click a button, I'll show you where it is, and fill in 3 cells that basically say this is what your name is, this is what my email address, I would like my email address and username to be. There are also commenters. If you just sign up and then you can comment on the pages. Yeah, this is great. No, I don't really agree with that point you're making. It is factual. One thing we do say is WikiWaste must be factual. I mean, your information must be backed up by full references, and it is free to use, free to read. You no sign up requirements. You can just not even log on. Just go to Google, go to your web browser, and find it. Right, here we go then. That was the last of my slides. I'm hoping I can go live. .org.uk. So this is the main page. This is what you find when you click into it. I did mention that the sign up is in front of you there when you come here. When you click in, there are information about how Wiki works. There's a code of conduct. All the information and the data to support WikiWaste is from the Environment Agency in England, Natural Resources Wales in Wales, and SEPA in Scotland. And this data is from calendar year 2019. I think you all know that obviously we're waiting on 2020 data, but that's never out until autumn, sort of September, October. Of this year, so we'll get 2020 data in 2021. The information on the local authorities is taken from Waste Data Flow, and that's for financial year 2019 for England and Wales. Scottish is a bit different because it works on calendar year 2019, and Northern Ireland data is to follow, and we're working on that. So I just wanted to show you how the main page is organized. I'm just quickly going to click into each of these titles. So organizations. Please open my internet connection is fast enough. Just gives you an overview of the organisations, local authorities, government organisations, non-government organisations that are on Wiki. And if you scroll down, you can see some of those. If you can click on them, the underline, click on them. Let me go back. Acronyms. Whole host of waste acronyms. I used to think we had a lot in Ministry of Defence. Ministry of Defence and Waste up to get together and have an acronym party. They are all in italics. Reason being, if you click on an acronym, it will take you to its page. So if I randomly click on animal byproducts or something, it should, yes, go to the animal byproducts page. Sorry, I'm scrolling too fast. That's my point. Arrangements. This is where section 6 sets out different collection arrangements for waste collection authorities, information on whether they're in-house or outsourced or with local authority trading companies. I think this one's quite interesting because it gives you an opportunity to see who collects mixed recyclables, how often they collect them, who's collecting what. In essence, yeah, who's doing what. If I, for instance, click on green charge because it's at the top, this is a template page, so all the pages that are in arrangements have this little template at the top that tells you about sort of segregated and commingled and stuff. And then we scroll down, and this is where it gets interesting. So all of these local authorities currently charge for green waste collection. And obviously you can click on your local authority from here, or anybody else's local authority from there, actually, if you want a bit of a nosy. If I go back to that page as well, let's have a look. Residual 3 weekly. Who's doing residual 3 weekly? Let me have a scroll down again, and just these handful of local authorities currently collect 3 weekly. Obviously, if you're not on there and you are doing 3 weekly, then update your waste data flow and we'll give us a message and we'll pick it up. But no surprises to see it is the Scottish and Welsh authorities on there. So I'm going to go back to the main page again. I've done arrangements, tonnages and waste types. The definitions of certain waste streams are on here. Healthcare, a definition, healthcare waste, hazardous waste, and information on waste tonnages. If I go down to wood waste, for example, wood and wood for composting here is a good example that if I clicked on any of those, I know that they would go to the wood, they would redirect to the wood waste page. So I'm going to click on wood waste just to give you an overview. So all the different waste streams on here, plastic, textiles, glass, metals, whatever it may be, follow the same format and the same template. So a quick overview on the size of the wood market, currently around 4.5 million tonnes, an overview of the waste wood market, information on waste wood grades and regulated position statement 207. Just to quickly interject and say, everywhere that there's a blue link or blue text means there's a page on it. So you can, like standard wiki, you just move from reading it to another page. I'm a bit bored now, I'll move on. Absolutely fine, that's how it's been designed to be used. Then a pie chart, fancy pie chart on macro tonnages. This is from DEFRA statistics, so we also take our data and information from DEFRA. This is their DEFRA stats from the digest, the latest version of the digest, and then we scroll down and we do a pull from waste data flow. So just have a look at the types of local authorities, for instance, that are producing different types of wood waste, and actually let's have a look at where they're going, because I'm really quite nosy. Chipboard here, I should also say there's a threshold, because if we pulled them all, there'd be pages and pages and pages, and we'd be scrolling down forever. So there are certain thresholds. This one is 4,000 tonnes. So these local authorities produce 4,000 tonnes of chipboard and send it to each of these reprocessors. Quickly to say, you can see this is a direct pull from waste data flow. These pages, these links that are in red are pages that don't exist and pages that need writing. So if I've got our Plevin and Sons Limited on the line and listening in, feel free to sign up to be an editor and write your own page. That'd be great. Scroll down a bit further. Composite wood materials, local authorities that send more than 1,000 tonnes of single waste operator. Once again, we can see who's moving what where. Waste data flow currently still says having wood recyclers there, Ember, aren't they? So that'll be updated next time when the next round of data comes out. And then 20,000 tonnes of wood, standard wood. These handful of local authorities wood for composting, and that's a 2,000 tonne limit. So that's the tonnages, waste types and tonnages. Go back to the main page again. Technologies and solutions. I'm not, oh, I will click on actually, and that's got a list of all the high temperature incinerators, which I can try and click on. All the cement kilns that are taking waste, hazardous waste, refuse derived fuels, solid recovered fuel, that sort of thing, energy from waste plants, which I will talk about, and all the different technologies are listed below. And then legislation and policy. Lots of pieces of legislation have been implemented into WikiWaste, but I'll be honest, I personally believe this is the area of WikiWaste that needs a lot more work. I think we all know there's more waste legislation associated with waste than there is in any other area of environmental protection. So this really does need keeping an eye on, updating regularly, and more pieces of legislation policy being implemented as and when, particularly for the devolved administrations. So just quickly, I'm going to talk through some of the local authority pages first of all. I should quickly say WikiWaste, when we designed it, was introduced as a portal primarily for me to hold information on local authorities if I'd sent them an FOI, or if I'd done a big data pull on waste data flow. Waste data flow is quite I find it quite difficult to use, and I kept thinking, oh, I don't want to go back into waste data flow to look for this information on this local authority. There must be an easier way of finding this information, and now I've got this information. How can I get my hands on it without, finding another folder, or I've lost the folder that I put it in? So that's how WikiWaste developed, and we've added lots more pages since then. So I'm going to go to a local authority page first of all. We do all of our searching on WikiWaste in the search bar on the right hand side, and I'm going to type in South Northamptonshire just because that's my local one, and I'm hoping I'm going to see information. So I'll type the fat fingers. Right, so then it comes up South Northamptonshire, information from Office of Natural Statistics Office, ONS, tells us about the demographic population and land area and all that sorts of information. Then we move down to our key metrics, the interesting information. There's only two that are ranked within England at the moment. The percentage of household waste sent for reuse, recycling, composting, XNI, National Indicator 192, and the collected household waste per person, X Best Value Performance Indicator 84A. I can see that South Northants collected in 2019-20, 59.9% for recycling, making them 12th, and 425.6 kilograms per person. That's quite a lot. And for these two, we can click on the ranking button. So I can go on the rankings and have a play with my local authorities. So here I could, in theory, click on a local authority and it would give me information on the local authorities in alphabetical order. I could go on recycling, rank it on recycling, and I can see free bidders as is at the top. Or I could rank it on best value performance data 84, how much is being produced per person. And then I can see the Camden, London Borough of is at the top, which I think is great because we can give some London boroughs a big shout out here for doing fantastically well for their BVI 84. Right. Anyway, so that's how we use the ranking button. Then we scroll down. This is taken from DEFRA, so information put into waste data flow. We pick it up from DEFRA, and all of the English local authorities are presented in this way. Local authority collected waste, the overarching figures at the top, then the household waste, how much is recycled, how much is not, non-household waste, business waste, and then information on what they did with it once it's been collected. South Northants is a waste collection authority, so it doesn't have any information on its disposal. And then we've got two more unranked metrics at the bottom there. Every local authority page has information on their collections contract, primary and secondary. We haven't filled in the secondary, such as how do you collect your blocks of flats or your main highways, houses that are on main A routes, that sort of thing. But primary collection arrangements are listed. Once again, you can click on any of those blue links if you want to find out more. Contract arrangements, this is an in-house. It says that the in-house ones that are rolling on and on and on are one, and the figures, I'm hoping, as they go on, outsourced are a bit more up to date than the in-source. These are quite that's quite out of date and needs changing, but it's difficult to get product figures for in-house services. And then they have a couple of their own contracts for their food and their green waste, and this is where it's being sent. So I could then think, right, okay, I want South Northampton's Waste Collection Authority. I want to find out a bit more with their disposal authority. I'll click on Northamptonshire. Same format, same template, just a bit more information because we've now got HWRCs included. We've still got our ranked metrics that I can play around with. The template is still the same on local authority collected waste, household, non-household, but I've got a bit more information here on the management of collected waste. What do they do with the waste that's collected? And to me, as a member of the public and somebody that puts my bin out to be collected for South Northamptonshire Council, I find this fascinating. So let's have a look. Where does it go? Goes to all these different pages. I should say Northampton's just seems to go on and on and on. A lot of it goes to 43,000 tonnes I can see here goes to Wolverhampton Energy from Waste Plant. Some goes to Waterbeach MBT. Some goes to naming facility. And our recycling goes goes Shotton. So lots of information on where our waste goes in Northamptonshire. Oh, some even goes up to Ferrybridge. That's quite a way away. I will just quickly show you how it changes for Welsh and Scottish. So if I put something in like Cardiff, so Cardiff, same template again. I'm just going to scroll down. Cardiff's in unitary, obviously. Otherwise, Welsh local authorities unitaries. So they are a bit more restricted in the information they provide. They've just got how much is recycled, reused and composted, and how much is sent for disposal, and actually where is it gone. Got information on their collections contract. It's in-house. And where does it go? No surprises. The majority of their waste goes to Trident Park, 61,000 tonnes, and their rubble, everything else goes there. So that's quite interesting information on Cardiff and the Welsh. And let me go on a Scottish one. Spelt it wrong. Great. Aberdeen. I'll go on Aberdeenshire, shall I? So what's Aberdeenshire saying? Same template again, but interestingly, The difference between the Scottish local authorities is that they provide a carbon impact, and they've got household waste carbon impact, tons of carbon CO2 equivalent, and they can then determine their impact compared to each of the other 31 Scottish local authorities. The rest of it is exactly the same. The templates the same. We've got sewers making an appearance here though, and we've got information on their waste streams and where it goes. They don't put SEPA, Scottish authorities don't put quite as much information on waste data flow as the English and Welsh ones. So that's that. Right, I'm now coming out of talking about local authorities and the reason we designed WikiWaste primarily to as a portal for that type of information. I'm just coming back and I'm going to talk about technologies and solutions, and I'm going to go on the list of residual EFW plants, because this is the part of WikiWaste that I find the most fascinating. So here is a list of all the residual energy from waste plants in the UK. They all make a appearance here. I'm going to click on this residual waste EFW overview page. And this is the main page, or feeder page should I say, for all energy from waste facilities. Gives a little bit of information on what the current operated plated capacity was as of March 2021, 75% of the residual waste market, and then we move down to the exciting stuff. Here are all the operational EFW facilities in the UK at the moment. They're all listed, they've all got their own pages. I'm going to move to pages in the moment, but we can see them, they've all got their IDs. The IDs link up with the table on the left hand side, so we can have a bit of a nosy, have a look around who's there. I'm going to scroll down a bit further. There's some information on growth in residual waste. This is DEFRA stats again. Then we've got all the under construction plants. Each of these have their own pages as well, if you, apart from those two, if you want to have a look. And then all those ones, all those facilities that have got planning consent and potentially could be built, they're all listed here, but there's hundreds of them, as you can see. And I'm hoping Skelton Grange is oh, there we are. She's now turned blue. So, because I put some information in about the plant earlier today. Right, so I'm going to scroll back up to the top. I hope I'm not scrolling too fast, making people feel ill. I'm going to click the top one just because it's Runcorn. Right, so each of the pages are exactly the same. Title's different, obviously. They all have a lovely picture. Bit of a summary about how large the plant is, who it's owned by, what sort of waste streams they take, bit of information on their history. Once again, you can click further through, and anything in red needs a page. First thing to say is this: we have this call out box on the right hand side, which gives us information on its operational capacity, when it got if it's got an R1 recovery status, when it got given R1, what's its value. Quite a lot of interesting information there. I'm going to come back to the operator's annual report information, but local authority data. Right, okay, once again, this is what I find quite interesting, because I want to know what local authorities put what tonnage into what plant. So it's a standard template across all the energy from waste facilities in the UK. And going into Runcorn, for instance, is all of these local authorities. We should not be surprised that obviously Greater Manchester are putting 489,000 tonnes in. I'm assuming Manchester City are putting a bit in. Yeah, Nottinghamshire. Lancs, yeah, they're there as well, 37,000 tonnes. You know, it's quite a surprise. This is what I find interesting, the fact that, you know, some local authorities from quite some distance are still putting a certain amount of tonnage into the plant. Obviously the Welsh facilities have now got Park Adfer, but they're still putting quite a bit of tonnage in, admittedly 2019-20, and that could have stopped. So it's just fascinating to find out who's put in it. Obviously they've got the contract with Cheshire East, so that information is there, who's putting what in. We've got EA tonnage data as well. So this has been pulled from Environment Agency, and we're being told that the majority is 1912-12. These are both sort of RDF, SRF codes, and these are the regions, the regional pull as to who's supplying the plant. Northwest, the biggest figure, obviously. So each energy from waste plant also has a pull-out box here with input data. So this is operators annual return. So this is for 2020. You probably know they have the first 3 months of the following year to fill their annual reporting. Has to be with the AA by the 31st of March. Once it's with the AA by 31st of March, we request a copy of the information and we complete these pull-out boxes on operators annual report. So we can see didn't put any household in. We know that because they put a whole load of RDF in. We saw at the bottom. Didn't put much. Didn't put any CNI in. Didn't put much CNI in. What have I got? 12,000, 12,500 tons. Didn't put any clinical in is what that stands for. But they put a hell of a lot of refuse derived fuel in, and then what comes out the back end? Well, those tonnage of incineration bottom mats, what the percentages of the total tonnage in, how much pollution control residues came out, and then what the percentage in. So that's how each of the energy from waste sites look like. We do have information on the non-hazardous landfills. So if I put something in like dimmer, then information on dimmer will come up, and its waste license, who the operator is, bit of history, geology, how it's engineered and controlled, and then information on the EWCs going in and the tonnage going in as well. So what have moving on from that, what have we been doing recently? We have been inputting.
Sorry to interrupt, and I really hate doing this, but I've just got to keep an eye on time. Can I just give you a bell warning for a few minutes, if that's okay?
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Anna.
We've got some questions for you as well that I've just Simone's alerted me to. Sorry.
Easy ones, I hope. Right, high temperature, clinical waste incineration. So I'll do this as the last page then, Anna, just to say this is what we spent the past 2 months doing, putting all the information in on high temperature incineration and clinical plants. Once again, here's an overview of all the clinical waste plants in the UK. The list is below, how much went in, what the capacity is, how much of the total went in, how much clinical went in. Once again, each of the clinical incinerators have got their own pages. You can have a look and find out a bit more about them. There's the list of the 4 high temperature incinerators in the UK. And here is the list of the municipal incinerators that took clinical waste in 2019-20 and the proportion of how much they took compared to the total that's received. So that's basically WikiWaste in a nutshell. What we're going to do going forward, we'd like to start populating the AD facilities. We'd like to start populating MRFs throughout the UK with their tonnage information, and Northern Ireland, obviously. So we can't leave them out for much longer. So thank you.